Alrighty, so in this video I'm going to be showing you how to create the Trammel toy assembly, how to finish up the Trammel toy assembly. So this is what it's going to be looking like at the very end. There are different steps we can take for this guy though. Right here, the screw can actually be one of these Vex pins. In this video I'll be showing you with the Vex pin added in there. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and stop this, and then what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to undo all the actions that I have done. And so now you're going to kind of see a little bit of the process of what I ended up doing here so far. Okay, so sweet. So now we're back to where we were at. Where we were last is we were adding in these nuts over here. So we ended up going with these gold looking ones because they were the right size. So with these other ones that I've got over here, I'm going to go ahead and just highlight those. I'm going to delete them, just kind of clean up our work area a little bit. I also have one of these as well, one of these nuts. Now this one is supposed to be added into the bottom of this, so let's go ahead and let's add that one in. We're going to click on fasten. I'm going to be hovering with my mouse over this face, hold down shift, and then I'm going to click on that center point right there. And then what I'm going to do with this is hold down shift again, click right here, and then that's going to basically, for some reason, whenever I clicked on this bottom part here, it did not go with that. So I'm going to click right there again. Then now you can see it's in there, and then it is going through the material right now, so I'm going to press this. There we go. Now we've got that out. Sweet. So then now, first thing that we need to do after that is we need to also delete this guy over here because it was hiding out. Let's see. I'm going to press the X on that. Let's go ahead and grab this guy and then delete him. Sweet. Okay. So now the dowel pins, they need to be added in. So we got the bigger dowel pin here, smaller dowel pin here. So dowel pin, we're going to go ahead and do fasten mate for this. What I want to do is you want to hover over this. Now you see this little guy right here that's switching up. What we want is for that to be facing right at us, just like that. So if you hover over the edge of that, you'll end up being able to get that correctly selected, and then we can hover over this edge again right here to that circle. Now we want to flip that axis. Basically, my advice for you all is you just got to get in there and you got to try this out. So you've got to try to flip the primary axis if something's not going in correctly. Sometimes you got to mess around with that, or the reorient. So then the other big dowel pin here, once again, remember we want it to be where it's in that orientation there. This is the bigger dowel pin hole, so we're going to go ahead and go right here as well, and then we need to flip the primary axis. Okay. So now next part is we got to get these smaller dowel pins. So just hover over there again, bam, hover over this guy, boom, flip the primary axis, green check mark, boom. Next one, right here, that edge, and then click on this edge of the circle, boom, right there. Flip the primary axis, green check mark, bam, we're done with that. All right, sweet. So next thing that we want to do, what we can do is we can toggle in here. So after I've gotten that, and then it's asking me for mate connectors, I can toggle the tool that I'm using, the mate tool, by just pressing that drop down. So what we're going to use next is actually the slider mates. So we want to find the slider, and then what we're going to be doing is we're going to set them up so that they can slide on here. So what we want is to go ahead and go to one of these sides, hold down shift, and then click that guy right, click that guy right there. Now what we want is for our pin slider mate to be going through here, right? So then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here, zoom in, hold down shift, click this guy, and then now what you'll see is if I press play here, it'll show you the movement, and that is the correct movement. So I'm going to go ahead and press the green check mark, and then next what we need to do is we need to go to this side, and then we're going to actually add in another slider mate. So I'm going to click slider mate again, go right here, hold down shift, click right there, boom, then hold down shift, click right here, bam. Okay, so then now if I press play again, we can see that movement one more time. So then now we're going to press the green check mark. There are limits that you can set up in here. We'll be talking about these later on. The limits basically allow you to basically say where, well, okay, this cannot go past this point or this point. But actually for the Trammel toy, we don't need that because it'll already be limited just by the movement. So then now, next thing that we need to do is this is the Vex crank arm. So we've got to bring that guy, and then we've got to actually add those on. So in the first part, I showed you how to bring that in. And what we're going to do is we're going to use one of these. I'm going to use one of these screws right here, and then I'm also going to use one of these Vex connector pins for this as well. So now for the Vex connector pin, what I want to do is use a slider mate. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down shift, and I'm going to click on this center point right there. And then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to hold down, now hold up here, I might be getting a hold of myself. Let me get out here and make sure that this guy, okay, so this guy is the one with the nut on the bottom. So what we're going to actually do is this is going to have this guy in here. So if we go in here, we can do the slider mate again. Now technically this would be the cylindrical mate, but I'm just going to use the slider mate because the cylindrical mate can sometimes give you a little bit of issues. So I'm going to flip this just like that. And then so now what I also need to do is I need to raise this up a little bit. So I'm just going to raise it up just a little bit. And then the next thing that we're going to want to do is I'm going to click right here, and then I'm also going to click down here, and I'm going to hover over this face, hold down shift, and then click on the center there. Okay, so now you'll see that both of these are added in there, right? So now what I want to do is raise this up, and then now what we're going to do is we're going to add in this guy. Okay, now on the very far edge of this, we do need this guy to be set up. So what I'm going to actually do real quick is I'm going to do a fasten mate, and I'm going to fasten this guy. So you can hold down shift, click right here in the center, and then what we're going to do is we're going to come over here to the Vex IQ crank arm, and then we're going to hold down shift and then click right here. Now do you see how I'm hovering over this face right here? So any part of this works. Just hold down shift, click right there. Okay, now green check mark, boom. Next thing we want to do is we want to go to the revolute mate, and then I want to hover over this guy right here, hold down shift, click on the center of this. Now what we're going to end up doing is set this up so that this will be in line with this guy. And now one mistake that I did make is that we actually do need to, I'm going to press green check mark on that just for right now. We're going to come back to it because it's giving me an error. We need to set this up so that it's right here. Now let's see here, that was the slider mate. What I can do is I can set a limit on that. I'm going to make the minimum be 0. So now if we look at this, let's see, that's going way too far. So maybe the maximum needs to be 0. Let's see here. We can mess around with that. There we go, perfect. So then now it's basically not going to go into that material anymore. So then now what we want to do is go back to that revolute mate, and then now we're going to, so we already selected that hole right over there. What I want to do is find the identical hole over here. So I'm going to hold down shift, and then I'm going to go to this guy. And then now you'll see that that is set up correctly. So I'll press the green check mark on that. And then finally what we want to do is we want to actually go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes out. And then we're going to set up a revolute on this guy too. So we're going to click revolute, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then right here we're going to hold down shift, click on this guy, boom, we got that one. Then next we're going to come in here, hold down shift, click on this centerpiece in here, and then now we've got this guy set up. So press green check mark, and then now as you can see, we've got this oriented correctly. I do have an extra screw right here. I'm going to delete that because we simply don't need it. I'm going to go to my isometric view, and then what we're going to do is we're going to click on either of these revolute mates. You'll have to try it out yourself, but click on either of these two and then go ahead and click play. And then what you'll see is that you now have the animated motion of your Trammel toy. So congratulations. Let me know if you got any comments, questions, concerns in class, or type them in the YouTube video comment section. But anyways, I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.